So men and female dynamics, what to do, what is the gender roles, what should you be doing within a relationship, or what should you be doing in the earlier stages of the relationship. Now, and it's interesting because it all comes off the back of this clip.
Listen to me. Set out as you mean to go on. When you start doing these things, like cleaning, doing his laundry, making his lunches, taking on the labor for him, that's what becomes expected of you. And it makes it so much harder when you come to realize, wow, this is a lot. And then you're like, hey, I would actually like to offload some of this back to you. Why would they do that? Why would they be like, oh yeah, sure. It has benefited them greatly for you to do it for a very long time. So I beg of you, don't ever do this. Don't ever start to do it unless you plan on doing it for the duration of your relationship.
So she's telling women to avoid cleaning a man's room, cooking for him, doing nurturing things to him because he's going to expect that. You're telling women to not be their natural selves, which is a lot more nurturing than men. How else is he supposed to gauge that she is a quality woman who's going to cook, who's going to clean? How else is he going to know that she does that if she never does it? And this is why women are horrible at giving each other advice.
Yo, what up? Marco Brown here, and these are my thoughts. Back at you with an unbiased opinion, back at you with an honest review. So men and female dynamics, what to do, what is the gender roles, what should you be doing within a relationship, or what should you be doing in the earlier stages of the relationship. Now, and it's interesting because it all comes off the back of this clip that we just saw, where the woman's pretty much advising other women to not go into a man's environment and do things for him that you are not willing to do for a prolonged period of time, which to me, honestly, I think that's actually not bad advice, to be honest. It's not actually bad advice. She pretty much spelt out that if you're not willing to do something that a man's going to benefit from and sustain it, then don't begin to do it. Okay. And she specifically drew an example of cleaning a man's house and clean up after him. And I know I'm going to get a massive pushback from people saying, well, how's a woman supposed to display her motherly qualities and her nurturing qualities and so on and so forth? Well, the thing is, there's two sides to the coin, because I think sometimes the same advice you'd give to men has to be applicable to women as well. So, and vice versa. I personally would not encourage a woman to go into a man's house, clean it up, cook him up a slap up meal indefinitely as a selling point to whether she would be the right candidate to be a wife or a nurturing mother or whatever. I wouldn't advise a woman to do that. And the reason why is because, again, there's no point setting yourself up for failure. Right? Because if you're trying to win him over by cooking for him, cleaning for him, and so on and so forth, and he doesn't pick you and doesn't make you his wife, what happens? There's disappointment, there's bitterness, there's all those sorts of things. I would rather encourage a woman to say, let's just say a man comes over to a woman's house. Let's just say instead, on this occasion, she's invited him to her house. That's when I'd use that moment to show him that you can cook, right? And then you've also got to show the man your environment. So if you're a woman who likes to clean and keep herself tidy, it's going to be evident in your environment, in your natural living space, right? You shouldn't have to go into his living space and clean it up. If anything, if you go into his living space and it's a tip and it's a war zone, it's horrid, why would you want to be with a guy who can't even be hygienic, right? Who can't have a standard level of cleanliness, and that's why I say there's no point going into his house and trying to maintain it, or his living space and going to maintain it, because you have to be able to do for him what you are willing to do for yourself. That's my honest opinion about it. In the same way, let's just say if a woman is having a shortage in her finances for a specific reason, like it can happen to anyone, that she's short of money for the month, maybe an unexpected bill, maybe a car tire flat or something, and then you step in and say, you know what, boom, here is money towards getting a new tire, right? And check this out, I put you on a breakdown cover, or I put you under my breakdown cover, so if you break down or something, you're always going to be covered. You're showing attributes of someone who's trying to be a protector and a provider. You're not doing it by just flashing money at the woman or saying, I'll pay all your bills. You're not doing that, because that is not something can be sustainable. Okay, now a woman should be able to look at that and then judge and say, you know what, this guy is a caring guy, right? This guy, he actually cares about my well-being. From that's when you can say, you know what, this guy has good qualities within him. Not the fact that he can literally buy you whatever you want. That's not good qualities, because then he can just switch that spending habit to another woman if he wants to. Okay, and then at the same time, as a woman, you'd have to look at a man's actual habits in his own environment. So how does he pay his bills on time? Okay, does he invest money? Does he save money? When he buys, what type of car does he drive? And then how's he paying for his car? Does he budget? Does he have plans for the future? These are attributes that when you're seriously looking for a husband, you're looking out for those things. In terms of when you're getting to know someone, you want the guy to show you why you would want to be with this guy, because you're going to feel safe, you're going to feel stable, you're going to feel protected, right? The same goes for a man with regards to a woman. You shouldn't be looking at a woman that, you walk into an environment and already there's conflict, you're arguing, you're fighting straight away. Yeah, I mean, me personally, if a woman was cooking and cleaning for me, I actually wouldn't really appreciate it. I wouldn't like it, because I would feel as though it sounds weird, but you're invading my private space, right? If I haven't asked you to come in and clean up my house or clean up my place to the standards that you hold, then why would you do it? Because I value my private space. I value my territory. So I wouldn't want a woman to come in and suddenly she's cooking and she's cleaning everywhere. I think when you do that, you have to think of the long-term effects of things, because what if you break up? Like, as men, we have to think logically as well, and not just think, oh, a woman has to cook for me and clean for me. You've got to think of survival, and you have to think of longevity. If you're dating a woman and she comes in and cooks and cleans for you, what happens if you break up? What if you're with her and you don't marry her, and you're just being in a relationship, and your thing is, I'm just testing to see how good she is, and I want to see how well she lasts. I've got a rule where it's about 6 months. If she's cooking and cleaning for me consistently for 6 months, then I may become exclusive with her. What if she finds another guy who just says, you know what, he's more serious than you, and then she leaves you, say 5 months down the line, she leaves you for another guy, right? Because the guy that she's now with is a bit more serious than you are in terms of his commitment to her. Now you're stuck. Who's gonna cook you the wonderful food that you were enjoying? Who's gonna clean your house when you were so lazy to clean it up and you left it? Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna get so used to the man cooking and cleaning, you're not gonna cook for yourself, you're not gonna clean for yourself, and you've broken that adult habit of being able to fend for yourself. You've literally delegated it to another person. That's why even me in my own life, there's certain things I do for myself, because I have to think of it as, I want to still function as a responsible adult and a human being. Because when I was living by myself, I did all these things by myself. So every now and then I will cook, and every now and then I'll do things around, I'll clean up the house, stuff like that, because these are things I want to stay used to doing, because it's good to do that as a man and as a mature and responsible adult, and I participate in cleaning up and stuff like that, in terms of washing the plates, stuff like that, if my wife, if she cooks, right? So because you don't want to lose touch of basic skills, you don't want to lose touch of that. So I would always caution and question whenever men advise other men that, oh, you should be expecting the woman to cook for you and clean for you. Actually, you shouldn't. You should be trying to assess her natural environment, because her natural environment is how she's going to be when she's with you in your natural environment, or in your combined natural environment once you decide to live together, right? Because what happens a lot of the times is, a man and a woman will go live together, and the woman, if she's used to doing things a certain way, she's going to continue doing it, right? But if she is not used to doing certain things and it was all an act, that's going to come out of the wash very, very quickly. And you'll see she's not cooking for you. She'll see she's not cleaning for you. Do you know what I mean? You want to be the type of person that, you don't live with the woman. You monitor her in her natural environment. And then when you go to visit her in the natural environment, you want to see, well, she knows you're coming over, so she made you a plate of food. Did she do that? If she has the mindset of, oh, he's coming over, he better bring some food over, then that's an indication as to how she's going to be when you're living together. But if it's like, okay, because she's in her natural environment, the natural thing is she has to cook, and she has to eat food and nurture herself. But if within that nurturing she includes you into the equation, that shows you that she's thinking about you and she's thinking about your well-being. That's just the most important thing, is to understand the woman's intention and her natural environment and her natural mindset. If you can't create it out of thin air, because the leopard never changes its spots. You're always going to revert to who you naturally are. So to some degree, I agree with this woman, but I don't know what place she's coming from. But I agree because I've gone through it, and when I've gone through it, I realized that the woman that made more sense to me when I was dating was the woman who was the most natural, the one where I didn't even have to ask her to cook me any food, right? I literally went to the house and she was like, yo, are you hungry? I made some food. That was the woman that was like, caught my eye and thought, oh, okay, I wasn't thinking about it, but yeah, let me try some. And then after a while, you do build expectation. You go to a house and think, oh, you know what? Why don't she go and cook any food? And if she doesn't, for you, it's no big deal because it's not your house. But when you go there, you realize that that's the type of person she is. When she asks you to come round, she's asking you to come round her house to visit her so that she can cook you some food. Not to come to your house and cook you food. You shouldn't need to do that, because if she comes to visit you, yeah, then she may be expecting you to take care of her whilst you're in your house, because it's your environment, and that's going to display to her your natural capability of being able to provide and protect her. Because when she's in your environment, this is what you do to protect her, this is what you do to look after her, this is what you do. Not her coming to your environment, all of a sudden she's now trying to clean up your environment. You shouldn't need to do that, right? So I think that's where the disconnect happens. We're expecting too much from the women, and the women expecting too much from the men. If I meet a woman and her expectation is for me to just take over her bills and pay for everything just to prove that I'm going to be her husband, I'm like, get the hell out of here, man. You must be crazy. There's another man that will do that for you, because I'm not going to do that, right? And if she doesn't like that, who cares? There's going to be a woman out there who understands that that's not my job. That's your job as a responsible adult, right? Because you whether we're together or not, it's something you should be willing to do either way. So if I turn around and I say to you, okay, I've had enough of this relationship, I'm done, who's going to pay your bills now? Yeah, you're gonna have to get used to paying your bills again, and then you're gonna be out there thinking, I've got no money because I was not disciplined to save the money or to put the money into better use. Whilst he was paying for it, I was out here spending and acting like I'm this boss chick, right? It makes no sense. Then before you know it, you have no money and you're disgruntled and you're bitter because at once upon a time someone was paying your bills and now they're not paying it no more. And then you have to get used to the idea of, oh, I used to have surplus money, now I don't have surplus money anymore. So there is no point. Just operate, in my honest opinion, operate within your natural environment. You operate in a natural environment, you'll get the best outcome because you don't have to hide. You don't have to pretend. Yeah. I often say part of the reason why I've noticed a lot of relationships fail is because the man and the woman will give the best service pitch to win the man or the woman, but what they offer is bad after sales service. It's the aftercare that's what causes the downfall of a lot of relationships, because once you have the guy, you think, whew, I don't need to do anything anymore, I'm done. Yeah, these are my thoughts. Marco Brown here again. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.